It's a pleasure to rise today to speak to the opposition motion by the member from Niagara West Glanbrook. What we are asking simply for the legislature today is have a public accounts committee call the main players of the eHealth saga to answer those questions about who knew what about this billion-dollar boondoggle. What we know so far is troubling to anyone. We know that the Premier's hand-selected head up eHealth has direct ties back to his office from this scandal. We also know that under successive ministers, hundreds of millions of dollars in untendered contracts went to Liberal-friendly consultants who allegedly worked in eHealth. When all of this came to light, the Premier announced and the Minister with great fanfare that they had called in Price Waterhouse to do an external audit on eHealth. The Premier said he wanted to get to the bottom of the scandal. He was as troubled and shocked at the allegations as we were. Madam Speaker, a few months later, with much fanfare, the government announced they hadn't actually retrained Price Waterhouse to do the audit. They were convinced it would just be a duplicate of the work that the provincial auditor was doing at the time, and we were supposedly just to forget about it. Mr. Speaker, the Premier and the Ministers of Health at that time repeatedly said an external audit was being done and conducted when it was clear there was no intention of doing one. This was a PR exercise and nothing more. Of course, we all know, we also called in committee for an investigation of the legislative committee. We all know what happened there in a vote that was clearly whipped by the Premier's office. The Liberals and members of that committee voted to sweep the whole matter under the rug. They voted against our motion in committee to hear from the people involved in eHealth, Madam Speaker, in an attempt to make it all go away. When the provincial auditor appeared before the Public Accounts Committee, he gave explosive testimony that the Premier himself misrepresented his report on the billion-dollar boondoggle, also known as eHealth. He particularly singled out the powerful Management Board of Cabinet for changing rules around untendered contracts, specifically for eHealth. As well, the Auditor General made it clear to the Public Accounts Committee, Madam Speaker, that he did not even attempt to probe the political ties of all the people involved in this scandal. The Premier knew this, and he still insisted that the provincial auditor cleared the Liberal Party of any wrongdoing. The provincial auditor, Madam Speaker, did no such thing. Madam Speaker, the eHealth scandal is far more about than Liberal consultants getting rich off provincial treasury. It speaks to the very real culture of entitlement that this government has. It's almost like that there are two types of Ontarians, those who are connected to the Liberal Party and those who are footing the bill and paying. Madam Speaker, I'm going to wind up my remarks. I don't have too long to speak, but over the last number of years, this Premier and successive Ministers of Health have presided over the squandering of $1 billion on eHealth with nothing to show for it. Even Ms. Kramer admitted on CBC News World that the money had been wasted. Madam Speaker, I would urge all members to support today's resolutions. It's a good way to get to the bottom of the eHealth mess. That's the best way to prevent it from happening again. Thank you.